Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and I'm going to do a quick recap video, the 5 things I do not like about the new Invisalign Expander. And to be really honest, I was super excited when I heard this was going to launch. So I've been a little disappointed since I learned more about it. I'm not disparaging it. Align doesn't need to come after me for libel or anything. This is just my clinical opinion based on what limited information I've seen and heard, which some of it might not be right. Now, keep in mind, I have reached out to Align Technology, many different people, multiple times trying to get more information. I have downloaded the, what do you call those? The data sheets. The previous video talks about where you can get it with the instructions, both doctor facing and patient facing, which gives me some of an idea of how it works. I have gone into the portal to try to figure out the pricing. It is not updated on the new pricing from March 2024 in most countries. I have looked around, can't find it. I have been told it's $900. Don't know if that's true for the whole sequence of the various expanders at each stage, as well as the holding appliances. It might not be correct. So my first concern of the 5 concerns would be cost. $900 is absolutely absurd. I had the understanding, which obviously was false, that it was going to be bundled into a comprehensive plan or bundled into an Invisalign First plan, kind of like MA was when it first came out. If you needed MA on the case and you purchased Invisalign First or you purchased Invisalign Comprehensive, it was included. If you need expansion, it should be included in the comprehensive. That's the whole point of comprehensive. So I think it's kind of BS that they're assessing an additional fee. Just saying. Although now my understanding is that they are assessing an additional fee of $100 to $134, depending on if you're in the US or Canada. For MA, not all countries are. Australia is not. That is what I saw in the most recent pricing. So that maybe is slightly reasonable. The $900 is 100% not reasonable. So considering I can go to any orthodontic lab in the United States and get a basic Hyrax for $125 to $150, I can get a 3D printed for $180, I can get a Shorts for $150. Why would I spend $900 when I can spend $150? It makes no sense, right? It works just as well. And to be honest, I think compliance is going to be better. Okay, so cost is number 1. Again, this is not confirmed. My other issue is the whole vertical issue. This would be really great for a patient that had a long face, who had, a hyperdivergent profile. Okay, I'm okay with that because it's really thick, because of the whole vertical aspect of it. But I'm not okay with this on somebody that has a short face. You have no way to modify the vertical. And the nice thing about doing a fixed appliance or even a Schwartz is that I can stack acrylic in various ways to control the vertical. So if I want to make the face longer, if it's hypodivergent, if it's brachycephalic, I can stack acrylic at the front. If I want to make a face shorter, I can stack acrylic at the back. So this will be good for longer faces. It will not be good for shorter faces because there's no modification where you can fix the vertical to make a hypodivergent or a brachycephalic patient longer. So I don't like that I can't modify the vertical, and it'll be not good for that kind of patient. That would be number 2. So first is cost, second is vertical. Third is habit. Again, with a regular expander, be it fixed or removable, I can put modifications in. I can put all kinds of modifications in, especially in removables, to flare incisors, to distalize molars, to control habits. So the third one would be just more modifications, but specifically habits. You can put cribs in, you can put bars in, you can put bluegrass in, you can put all kind of modifications in to control a habit. My concern here is that there's a lot of acrylic that is going to stabilize it, that's going to be at the roof of the mouth, which is going to affect the tongue position. I'd be really curious to know what you myos out there are thinking of this, because most myos are not a fan of removable expanders. They like a fixed expander with like a mini palax with a bar at the back so that the tongue has a place to go, as the whole point of expansion, one of the whole points, is to expand so that we can have that nice parking garage for the tongue. So the tongue isn't going down and forward, so the tongue is being parked up on the spot where it's supposed to be. If we have a ton of acrylic here, where's the tongue going? It's not going where it's supposed to go. So that would be my third concern, okay? Fourth would be the absence of a lower. I liked, for the most of the time, and if you are following me along with me or even considering signing up for the Simon Wong lecture in New Jersey in September, the whole phase 1 removables lecture, ENT lecture, huge part of what he teaches, which is a big part of what my personal philosophy has been for all these years as well, which is why we're so in sync, is lower expansion needs to be done the same time as upper expansion. There is a rumor that we were all taught in residency that as you unravel the top, the lower curve of Wilson unravels with it. Does that really happen? No, not always. And a lot of it just depends on how slow you take the expansion and how rolled in it is. It doesn't always automatically roll out. I usually have to either put braces on all the teeth, including if it's phase 1, I might have to put them on the baby teeth, or aligners on all the teeth, or I have to do a lower expander at the same time. It's not just gonna roll out along with it. So if we have really constricted upper and lower arches, I need to be expanding the lower at the same time as the top. Yes, there's no suture on the bottom, I get it, but I still need to roll the curve of Wilson out so that I have the proper space for teeth to come in. Now, again, I was under I had the impression that we were going to be doing expanders the same time as lower aligners. I do this all the time with Invisalign cases. Because there was no way to do this before, we just toss out the upper expanders and do an expander at the same time as we do lower aligners. That way we're rolling out if we don't want to do a lower expander same time. Saves money, right? If you're already paying for Invisalign treatment. Now I always feel guilty because I feel like that's a waste of plastic that just gets thrown in the trash and doesn't get recycled, but there was no other way to do it. So when this came out, I was like, yeah, yippee. Maybe we can go ahead and have a lower expander at the same time. That's going to be great, right? A lower aligner at the same time. Well, that is clearly not going to happen because they're not going to allow you, my understanding, to do aligners on the bottom the same time as upper expander. All you're doing is upper expander. You can't run 2 cases at one time, and it's totally going to be a different price. And lastly, you can't align at the same time that you do expansion. Again, I was thinking this was going to clip in and that we were going to have like anterior aligners, like I do these anterior deprogramming aligners at the same time as expanders all the time. Just mini aligners, you know, along with the lowers. I thought we were going to have lower aligners, anterior, upper, front aligners, and an upper expander. 3 things going on at once. No, that's not happening. You're either doing expanders or you're doing Invisalign. You're not doing both at the same time. Can't do that, is my understanding. So we do braces all the time as expanders. So you're widening, but you're not taking advantage of straightening the teeth at the same time. So it's a massive waste of time. I feel like this is 6 months with nothing going on. I mean, I'm okay with that if the patient is 6, 7, 8, but the patient is 12, 13, 14, the patients are going to get pissed off. So they need to find a way to do more than one, to multitask is what it's coming down to. There's lack of multitasking and it's going to be a waste of time. And I think parents are going to get annoyed. Yes, you can do rapid expansion. That's fine. But then you have to stabilize the rapid expansion. If you can do the holding appliance, which I have yet to see, at the same time as the aligners, I'll be fine with that. But they have not clarified that yet. And I have not seen, right now there is a link that says, oh, click here if you want to learn more. And it takes me to like an empty portal. So there's no courses, there's no real training on this yet. I don't know what's going on beyond what I've already read. So those are the 5 things I don't like about the new Invisalign expanders. Again, I might be wrong. This is just based on what I read. I feel like they're releasing this with a severe lack of education. And we need to have some education to go along with this. They shouldn't have released this until they had the full educational module first. My understanding is there is some type of educational module for the pediatric dentist, but there's none for the rest of us out there. So, but I don't know any pediatric dentists who have taken it yet. So if you know more, feel free to comment in the comment sections a little bit more about how this works. All right, thanks so much.